Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome. We're gonna keep today's video short and sweet. DIY renter-friendly fireplace. Let's get into it. So the first step in the process was mounting my TV. So I'm just showing you the backing of this no drill mount that I got from Amazon. It's linked in my Amazon store if you want one as well. But basically, it's not full-blown renter-friendly, but it's renter-friendly enough where it won't cause these big drilled holes in your wall. It'll only put these little picture hanging nail size holes in the wall. So after putting in that first nail, I backed up so I could use the level and kind of measure it out, make sure that it was nice and straight before I started to apply the rest of the nails. Because once you put them in, that's kind of it. It's in there. So I placed my TV on just to see if it worked. It worked beautifully, but then I ended up taking my TV back off because I had to install the safety cable. So here's a cell phone clip of how that went. You just basically screw the cable to the back of the TV and then screw that into your wall. You can choose to put this on if you want or if you don't. It's kind of like a do at your own risk if you choose not to, but that's what I did, and then I moved on to the fireplace. So these are the shelves that I got off Amazon. Again, if you want them too, make sure you head to my Amazon store. Everything is linked in there. Also, make sure you buy I believe it's the cherry color, or just get whichever color option is the cheapest because the color of these shelves really do not matter. You're not gonna see the shelves. Also, you only need the shelf on the left in order to do this project. Because I'm extra, I bought that smaller shelf that you're looking at because I wanted my fireplace to be extra long. But if you want this fireplace for $130, just get the shelf on the left. And then the next step is just to assemble it. I really love these kind of shelves because you don't need any tools, not even power tools, just tools in general. You just twist the tubes into the other tubes, and that's how you assemble these shelves. It took me all of 10 minutes? It's very quick. However, if you'd like, you can use any kind of shelf that you want. All right, so next is the fireplace. I got this online from Kohls and it was only $39, y'all. Get into it. My favorite part is that it's not a real fireplace. It does not get hot, doesn't get warm, none of that. It is a no heat picture. You get the aesthetics of a fireplace without the fire hazard of it being a real electric fireplace. So completely renter friendly. And I'll add a clip at the end of this video, but I put it on and left it on for 2 hours, came back and touched it, and the glass was still ice cold. So this thing does not get hot, which makes it perfect. So I'm just showing you really quick where the fireplace would sit if you just bought the long table, but for me, mine is gonna be more in between both of the tables. I'll also show you what to do with the poles that are blocking it. Don't worry, we'll get to it. So the width of your fireplace on the wall should match whatever the width of your shelves are. So for me, it was 71 inches. So I just used some electrical tape I got from Dollar Tree and traced out the 2 lines so I knew exactly where to start applying my contact paper. This contact paper, again, is linked in my Amazon store. So if you want it, go grab it, or use any kind of marble or any pattern design that you want. So then I started applying at the ceiling and worked my way down. Okay, so I put 2 strips. I started on the outer edges just because I wanted to make sure that this was as crisp as possible. So I didn't want to hand cut it myself. So yeah, I did the 2 outer edges, and now I'll just fill it all in. I'm stopping about here only because the table comes up to, let's say, about here. So I added a couple inches just to be safe. Not bad, not bad. And this is all 1 roll, by the way, and I still have a little bit of this roll left, so this is actually really good. So I removed the leg here, and here. All the other legs are in. But again, if you aren't doing this little extra piece here, then you'll only need to remove just this 1 leg and it'll be perfectly fine. But what I also did to make it a little more sturdy, these little cover pieces here, I put them down here instead. So that really helped kind of give it the stability that I needed to have. And you can, apply some pressure, and these aren't really going anywhere, especially not this one, but it's fine. So it's looking like, so this is where I'm leaving off. Tomorrow, or whenever I get back to this, I'll cover it up and do the final steps, but let's just talk about this right now. This looks like it's warm, okay? And let me see if I can get it to focus on the wood. It looks 3D, like this is a flat surface and the wood looks like, I don't know, it's very 3D. I like it. And it just looks so warm. But then when you touch it, it's ice cold because again, this doesn't emit any heat, which is perfect because obviously I'm gonna be covering it in paper, but like this is just really cool. So now for the fun part, Dollar Tree foam boards. If you're using both the wide and the smaller shelf to get 79 inches, you're gonna need a total of 5 foam boards. If you're only using the one wide shelf, then you're only gonna need 4 foam boards. So what I'm doing here is lining up the poster boards first. I'm gonna tape them all together because it just makes it a little easier to make sure I'm measuring correctly and cutting correctly. Only taping a little bit at this end and at the top end because a lot in the middle here is gonna get cut out. I quickly sketched out where I'm gonna be cutting. I left out a little bit of extra. So what I'm gonna do first, I'm gonna cut out the hole and then I'm gonna actually go line it up against the fireplace on the table just to make sure, because I don't wanna make any wrong cuts and, you know, be all mad. So let me cut this first and then, ooh, focus, I'm gonna go line it up. So you definitely have to, especially if you're gonna use an X-Acto knife, you have to kind of go over the same line over and over again to really cut through the foam, but that's fine. Now I'm just gonna kind of go back and clean it up with the X-Acto knife because yeah, but it's looking good. So next I'm gonna line it up against the TV just to make sure this is really good before I cut off the sides. All right, lined it up. Loving how it's looking so far. So I had a feeling that I was gonna need more than these 4. So just to be safe, I ended up going back to the Dollar Tree, what was it, yesterday? I don't know, and bought one more. They didn't have white, but it really doesn't matter. So I cut this to size. The part that I cut with the X-Acto knife is what's gonna go up against the wall because obviously I want crisp edges on the corners here. So yeah, this will be taped together. I'm so excited. So yeah, now that it's lined up and I can see where it's gonna fall, I'm gonna use my pencil to mark on this side now where I'm cutting. I wanted to save this part for last because I didn't want to just go measuring and cutting and then it doesn't line up because that would make me really sad. Honestly, what I'm also gonna do, because as you can see, my Wi-Fi box and all that stuff is back here. So I'm actually going to utilize the storage piece here, these shelves. So I'm gonna have like my Wi-Fi router like in there and just any like little things that I need for my TV. It's gonna be in here. So actually what I'm gonna do is when I make this cut, the foam board's gonna bend, but it's not gonna actually come all the way off. That's just how it is. And you usually have to cut several times to actually cut it off. So I'm just gonna do one smooth slice and then bend the foam board. So this is gonna act like a door, so that I'll still be able to access my Wi-Fi box and all that stuff back here. And also because, let me move this, the fireplace switch is right here. So I need to be able to reach in and actually turn the fireplace on and off. It's not plugged in right now. So yeah, that's why this door is here, because I need to be able to basically still reach the fireplace on and off button. The one tip if you are gonna do the door thing that I'm doing, if you're folding back this way, then the slice needs to be on this side. But if you were folding up this way, then the slice would be on the back side. So I hope I'm making this clear, but because I'm folding this back like this, the slice was on the front. That's where I cut, ooh, like that. So I did this little extra step. It's not super necessary. Put furniture pads to stop it from sliding. Oh, I also covered the edge here with electrical tape just so that it would be black, but that step was unnecessary because you don't really see it with the foam board. So yeah, anyway, ignore the electrical tape. But I put furniture pads at the bottom just because the fireplace, when I was pressing this like switch, just like me applying pressure to it, the fireplace kept kind of sliding around on here and it was getting on my nerves. So yeah, I put a pad here on this side and then there's one in the back. So now it won't slide side to side. Okay, so at this point, I've now flipped this over. So this is the back side where all the tags are, and put just a whole bunch of tape along all the creases. I want to make sure it's, you know, nice and secure. Now I'm thinking for the door part, I'm not putting tape here. What I'll do is bend it first and then apply the contact paper to the outside while it's bent so that I can then have it go like this and be able to bend it back. So yeah, contact paper will go on the other side of this. I made sure when I installed this first strip of contact paper, I put this stool under it so that it would be bent while I applied it, so that honestly, this side will act like a door too. Didn't plan for it, but both sides will be able to open, so it'll do this now. This is how it is when it's open, and then it'll be able to shut. If I had applied the contact paper while it was completely flat, I wouldn't have been able to bend it after. So make sure you do that if you plan on having this like a door type thing. So the tape has been placed along, it started up here. I ran it down this lip and then across. Down the lip and across. And I'm literally putting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm just gonna continue to do that all the way down. And make sure that when you're putting the tape that you're pressing this flat up against here, make sure it's flat at the bottom, and then apply the tape. This next part, inside the shelf. Okay, so now we're gonna do the same thing, except this time the tape is gonna start up here, and it's gonna kind of be like an L-shaped bracket, except it's gonna be an L-shaped slice of tape. So same thing, I'm gonna just make sure I'm applying a little bit of pressure, make sure it's flat up against the shelf, and then I'm gonna put some tape. I have the tape basically along the back of the foam board and up against the table. And I did the exact same thing on this bottom shelf as well. Ooh, it's kind of hard to get the angles. There we go. And I just kind of went in as deep as I guess my arms would allow. And now when I move this, as you can see, this does not budge at all. So that's exactly what we wanted. I need to now cover this with contact paper. I'm gonna tape that side and then cover this last. We're almost done. So I pushed the fireplace back just a little bit so that I can do the same tape maneuver down here too. So I didn't want this part moving around. This middle part, obviously I won't be able to have, I don't have super arms that can tape, but at this point, the top is taped, this middle part is taped, the sides are taped. This isn't, this is fine. It's not going anywhere. I'm gonna put my finger like a little bit under the glass and kind of hooked it to pull it back forward up against the glass because it's kind of hard to get back there now that this is taped, but it looks good to me. Look at that. Well, I still need to tape this. This is still open, but once that's flat, it'll look really good. Okay, so now that I've done it, a little tip. It makes sense, honestly, when you're taping to start at the edge first, just the top edge, skip the middle, get inside here and tape the inside. Go to the other side, continue to skip the middle, get on this side, inside, and then when you're done getting all the tape inside, then you can finish off the top here. Reason being is because if you tape this whole thing along the top, instead of just stopping over there, then it might, I don't know, but it might be a little harder to reach in and get inside. So I'm actually really glad that I only did a little bit up top and then saved this for last. So with this shorter flap here, I cut another piece. And I did that little indent there so that the cords can come out perfectly. You see that? And the reason also is because this was an accident. It wasn't supposed to be this short. And you kind of want that friction. You want it to hit the wall so that there's that friction when it slides, because that's what's actually gonna keep it shut. Without this, you see how it just flaps? You don't want that. Whereas on this side, because it's long enough, the wall keeps it shut. So that's what I'm going for. All right, we should be good now. I have one piece up here, a whole bunch of tape down the side, open it up, whole bunch of tape in there as well. And as you can see, now it stays put. So far, this is 2 rolls of tape. This is that one big roll and then the small roll. So if you are doing a fireplace with just this table, then this should honestly be enough contact paper for everything you need. Like, cause again, the fireplace would stop here. This would be more toward the middle, and all of this extra contact paper would be just enough to cover this. So I personally think you're good with the 2 rolls, but again, I had to actually go and order a 3rd one, but this time I ordered the $4 roll. Cause look at that, it fits perfectly. So I'm literally just gonna put it and just roll it out. Oopsie. So I took the cap off. I'm actually gonna poke a hole through this and then just put the cap back on. Just feeling for the holes. The caps are here. There we go. And I'm just gonna screw the caps back in. This is the top. When you zoom in, as you can see, these are there. But you really don't notice it because everything's black, so. This is honestly perfect. So I ran out of contact paper on this side, so I used some old black contact paper from a different project. Y'all, this is completely my fault. I was eyeballing. I really should have just calculated the overall surface area and then figured out how much I'd need, but I felt like eyeballing, so this is what happened. But really doesn't matter because, again, you can't tell when you walk into my living room, and if you a guest and you all up back here, child, get up out my house. So this is the door to the other side, storage, my Wi-Fi router and modem and all that stuff, whatever. I think that's the same thing there on this side. So this is, I'm satisfied.